Okay, so when it comes down to looking at the Canon M50 model and just looking at its lineup, I've realized that these two adapters are not actually the same. So let's talk about it. Okay, so from what I've read and what I've seen as well, these two adapters are completely different. So this one that you see is not actually for the M50. This one is for Panasonic. The other one is actually for the M50. Now, don't get that mixed up if you're actually buying an M50, because it's very confusing and they don't tell you exactly which one you should get. Obviously, you have to look on the label, on the manual, or even just like on the website. But when you're looking at them, even if you buy them on eBay or Amazon or wherever you're buying them from, they don't exactly tell you that this is on an M50. Like, what exactly is a speed booster? Or how does it work? So a speed booster, the way how it normally works is if you have a mirrorless camera and if you've been using it for quite a while now, then you know that you have your kit lens. So you have your kit lens to, maybe it might be from 16 to 45, it might be 24 to 70. You know, you have a range of lenses that only the camera has. Then you have the adapters. So the adapters don't really do anything, they just adapt to the EF lenses or EF-S lenses, and I personally have that myself as well, but obviously it's a bit cropped in because obviously it's a mirrorless camera, and even if you do film on 4K, it will basically be like a crop sensor. So what I do recommend is the speed booster, because the speed booster, what it does is not only does it give you more bokeh in your aperture, which is basically the f-stop, it basically, instead of having a 50mm lens with a 1.8, it actually goes down all the way to 1.2, which is exactly what you guys are seeing right now. This is filmed on a 1.2 lens on an aperture, and it looks quite good, like, you know, in terms of just what I've seen. Obviously you guys will probably have better gear than me or something like that, but I think this looks great. So if you're confused about any of the main three obviously key components of making of just making any films or just wedding videos or any type of content creating, what I recommend is looking at the main three. In your camera settings, you have ISO, aperture, and then you have your shutter speed. The shutter speed controls how fast the images are basically being recorded. So if you film at 1.30, you're going to get a very bloated image and you're not going to get it very crisp. But normally the standard is 1 to 6. So 1/6 is basically where that's everything looks fine. And that's if you're filming on 24 frames per second. Most films are filmed on 24, it looks the most natural, it looks the most cinematic. If you're filming at 59 or 60 frames per second, you need to boost that to around 125 or around 200 if you want. But that's just normally just standard things. If you're having banding issues, meaning that like you're getting some flickering, that means your shutter speed and your ISO need to kind of work around with it. So that's what shutter speed is. Your aperture is the f-stop number that you see all the time. That's how much bokeh you've actually have. So all the background stuff, that's how much bokeh is basically being produced. If you have a f.16 or f.4, or if you guys are confused about that, all it basically does is if you've ever played a video game and you know you're in photo mode and then you see, oh, I can go into depth of field, I can do, you know, how far can I actually go, you know, like as in terms of depth and depth of field, and yeah, with your ISO, what that is, you want it as low as possible, because when you do it above 6,000 or like 4,000 ISO, the image becomes extremely grainy and it's unsalvageable. You can't save the image. It's recommended to always go 100 or 200, depending on what your native ISO is on your camera. You can always look it up in your manual or your instructions. Mine is 640 for your ISO. Now, the main thing, this is the most important thing, which I recommend, is obviously lens. With the speed booster, what it does is that if you have any EF lenses or any type of EF lenses that you want to use, you can use them. They're pretty cool. So what I recommend is, if you want to get a 24 to 70, 28 to 70, and you guys might be confused about what exactly is a 24, what's a 70 millimeters. So 24 is mainly, it looks quite wide. Anything before that, like 16 millimeters or 11 millimeters, it's basically just like, if you've ever played a photo mode, as I always go back to, is it's kind of your POV, like, you know, when you slide it up and down, any that type of, in your settings where you can do the FOV slider, that's what it basically does. So at 16 it looks very wide, at 24 it looks a bit slowly glowing in, by 35 it looks like, you know, it starts to look like a film. By 50 it's gonna look very, very, this is filmed on a 50, so if you're confused, this is what a 50 looks like. Then you have your 70 and then 100. That's very close. That's like extremely close. But you can get some really beautiful images on a 70 and 100 mils. And then 150 is like your micro shots. It could be like animals, or, you know, really small insects. You can film the grass. You can see really beautifully. Anything that just is very telephoto. Like, it's a very, very close image. So that's why I recommend this this exact speed boosters, because what they do is they really help you pop your images, and I really love them, because what they do is that if you don't have much money, or if you don't have a lot of gear on your disposal, and you want to invest in money into like gear, and you don't really know where to start, this is the perfect way to start off. This will work on any of your M50 footage. It will work on any type of product review that you need to do, or anything you really need to work on. So I personally recommend it. If you haven't seen any of my videos, please let me know, and I'll probably be posting a lot more. This is my first video in 2023. I've been wanting to make a video anyway, but this is what I want to do. I want to make more videos for you guys, and I'll probably find more ways to talk about other things regarding not only just my camera, but maybe things that you guys might be interested in. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.